राम जय राम जय जय राम ओम श्री 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 राम जय राम जय जय राम ओम ओम श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम ओम श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम राम जय राम जय जय राम ओम ओम श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम जय जय राम ओम श्री राम 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 जय राम जय जय राम ओम जय राम ओम। श्री राम जय राम जय 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 जय राम। हरि ओम to everybody।
हरिओम स्वामी जी।
हरि ओम हरि ओम
हरिओम स्वामी जी।
हरि ओम हरि ओम हरि ओम
हरिओम स्वामी जी। हरिओम
हरि ओम। Where are we now?
Chapter 8 Swami ji, Tirupapur.
Tirupapur. Tirupapur we finished, no?
So there was small doubt they have something there.
Huh?
Small doubt is there.
Ah, yeah. Tell me.
Papa's telling them that he is looking. Their reaction to Papa's answers. That simply they surrender to Papa, isn't it? Papa influenced them to change themselves. Because of their goodness or Papa's influence on them, have you explained that scene, Swami?
Whether Papa's influence on them they have changed. If Papa's influence on them they have changed, or they have changed by this.
There should be some instrumental cause, you know. Though ultimately the transformation takes place from within, There should be an instrumental cause. And they are also basically good people.
Yes, sir.
Otherwise, they will not be able to receive this.
Yes, sir.
So the transformation took place because of their goodness, but there should be an instrumental cause, which Papa triggered. Though Papa did not do it with that intention, for us, when we look at it, we can say he is the instrumental cause. The message is that when we are steadfast on our path to reach the goal, there will be so many tests in between, whether we are dealing with it at the individual level or at a little higher level. Here in Papa's case, he did not deal it from his level, from the personal level. If it is from the personal level, he can say, why should you say like that? No? He can also lose his temper. But he rose a little bit higher, put himself in their position, appreciated them. Then the whole thing changed. So the message for all of us is, whenever we are confronted with various types of challenges and problems, if we raise ourselves a little higher than the present level, we will be able to deal with it harmoniously. No matter whether the other party receives it or not. There should not be any condition attached to it, that's all. Other party may not. But we are not affected. So from there they went to Pondicherry, no? Before leaving for Pondicherry, there is one point which stands out. A person who had his own living, a person who had dealt with umpteen number of problems, like all of us, you know. It's a tough job to go and beg. Imagine yourself, you know. Will you go and beg from street to street, from house to house? It is the biggest test on our ego. We may be talking philosophies. We may be accepting philosophies. But to go and beg, you know, just imagine. Vittal Rao was also like that, you know. So when he became Swami Ramdas, when he always becomes aware that God is there to guide him and protect him, when the other sadhu proposed that you should go and do the begging because you need money, not matter. For others, you know, any foodstuff is given, it's okay. For Papa, he was living on fruits and milk, so for which money is needed. If the sadhu goes, he may not get him, he get only the foodstuffs. So he told Papa, you go. There was not a second thought in his mind, you know. Ramdas, who was always at the bidding of his guide, did as directed. You and I have to just imagine, you know, even if we are pushed to a state where we have nothing in our hand, whether we will go and beg. It is the height of self-effacement. One rehearsal, you know, in Brahmin houses, they do this. At the time of Upanayanam, he is officially initiated into the Brahmacharya ashram. So the father, the guru, he, in his ears, he will convey, or he will, render the sacred Gayatri Mantra, and which he has to repeat, and he has to put the sacred thread. And then he will be first go and ask alms from his own house. Nowadays it is only a social function. So it doesn't carry any value like that, except in a ritual. But the idea is, the moment he becomes a brahmachari, he is disconnected with his family. He goes to the guru for Gurukula for 12 years. So then, the first bhiksha he has to take from his own parents.
Your mother, no?
Parents, mother and father. Both of them will be there. It's the toughest job. Bhavati bhiksham dehi. He will not say, Amma, you give me bhiksha. Bhiksham dehi. The concept is that there should be a total self-effacement. Here, at the age of 38 or 39, Papa was also, Vittal Rao was also a grihastha. He has earned a lot, he has spent a lot. Still he has something in Mangalore. He doesn't have to beg. But the moment the Sadhu Ram suggested, he was not treating him as Sadhu Ram. He was seeing him as the very personification of Ram. So when he directed him to go to the houses, he immediately started. And on that day, he got about 10 annas. 16 annas make 1 rupee on those days. So he got 10 annas. And then he did not count whether it was 10 annas or 2 annas. Entire thing was handed over to the sadhu, which were handed over to the Sadhu Ram, who on counting found them to be about 10 annas. So then he says, your Ram is really kind. Remark to the sadhu, this sum will do for 2 days. The first lesson. That means this self-effacement will be possible only if we treat the person to whom we are begging is also a form of Ram. We have to raise ourselves from our present level. From the individual level. And he is only seeing everybody as Ram. That is why he was able to beg. This is something on which we have to keep on. Not that we have to go tomorrow and beg, but there could be some number of ways by which the self-effacing can be done. And when it becomes intense, God will provide us with opportunities to demonstrate. Yes, and the next point is, what do you feel? What is the next point?
Maintaining equanimity.
Maintaining equanimity. Then what is the next point? He did not count. If you count the idea of dispossession is not there. When I own something, the moment somebody gives, if I go through and if I count or if I see, there will be a subtle feeling of owning it. Here, somebody asks him to go and beg, he begs. Whatever is given, whatever he got, he immediately passes it on without counting. So that means the sense of possession is totally absent. Ram gives, Ram takes. Because he is always guiding and protecting him. He doesn't have to protect himself, think of protect himself. Even if we are not using it, our ego in a subtle way will say, oh, see, when I went there, I got 10 nanas. Ego may slowly creep into us and then take hold of us. But here, like an automaton, he gets, he passes on. That's also an important point.
According to Papa, carrying money is carrying anxiety.
To carry money is to carry anxiety. We may have to carry money, but at the same time, if the ownership is not there,
Sense of possession should not.
possession, we have to possess. In Vyavahara, you have to carry money, no doubt. But the only thing is when you feel that it is yours, then the problem comes. Yes, then what is the next point? We have gone through this chapter earlier. So what comes next?
Surrender, Swami. 100% surrender.
100% surrender to Ram.
What was the episode?
Obeying, suddenly going and begging and suddenly surrender.
Obeying and suddenly going and begging.
No, that is over now. Okay, that is surrender. Okay. I am talking about the next. What is the next?
Papa wished to go to Arvindash.
They are not seeing Arvinda is another thing. What is the
Papa
point?
has not seen Aravindo. That is
Yeah.
another incident Vivekananda says.
Then. When we are on the spiritual path, God will make us to get in touch with Mahatmas who have scaled the heights. So the tendency of a bhakta or a spiritual aspirant is to have his darshan. So the moment he heard that Tirupallur and Pondicherry is only 20 miles away, then suddenly to have darshan of a Mahatma. Suddenly the prompting came from within.
In the entire IQG, only two places Papa has no desire. One is to see Swami Aurobindo, the second is to visit Sri Ramakrishna Math, visit the place.
No.
Comedy, when Papa Guruji went to Pondicherry that time Papa Guruji was not unable to get darshan for him due to police security. That time police are not allowed to see Aurobindo or something on Pondicherry.
Pondicherry, he could not see Aurobindoji, though he went there.
Police are taking that something.
What is the point? What is the point? What is it that we take it, after reading? What is the message for us?
That time we have to realize God and we have to think that God will visit again darshan of person.
Forget about the episode. What is the message to us? A desire wells up in our heart. We put in our effort, maximum effort, sincere efforts, and for some reason we are unable to get the desire fulfilled. What should be our attitude? That is the point. He walked about 20 miles.
Okay.
Wait, somebody else wants to
Surrendering to God's will.
If you think that I have put in efforts, then naturally we will feel bad. But whereas if we are in a position to take up, God willed that I should go there, try. God willed that it is not to be fulfilled for His own reasons, then there is no problem. It's a powerful message. It's a very powerful message for all of us.
Somebody, that time we have to believe God. God will do it next time for visiting person.
We believe that God will do next time.
In whatever way, it's all right. At that moment, we say we don't think about the result. If we think about the result, there will be grumblings and complaints. But if we think that, oh, God willed that I should take up this trip, what is the tangible gain? 20 miles when they were walking, they were thinking about the Mahatma. We are going to Pondicherry to have the darshan of Aurobindo. Whatever you have heard about that Mahatma, that will be there in your mind. So dwelling on the greatness of that Mahatma, we travel. Of course, we would like to have his darshan. And suddenly God wills that no, darshan is not possible. But our tangible gain has been gained. Because we have been dwelling upon the Mahatma. Only the physical presence was not there. So there is nothing for to grumble. This was the stage which Papa was having. Whereas the Sadhuram was definitely grumbling. Especially when the police called.
2 hours reduced to 1 hour.
2 hours reduced to 1 hour.
Yes.
And Papa's description about that policeman.
Yes.
A tall man of middle age with fierce looks and a well-curved and twisted moustache. He spoke something sternly which could not be grasped, for he must have done so in French. A reply in English was given by Ramdas. The man, who seemed to be a police inspector, simply stared in return to indicate that he did not understand what was spoken. Then a talk in Tamil ensued between him and the Sadhuram. The import of what the police inspector said was that only 2 hours were allowed for the sadhus to clear out of the city. At this, the Sadhuram demonstrated that after a walk of 20 miles at a stretch, the tired pilgrims required some rest, and they preferred to remain in the city for the night and leave the place next morning. This reply not only did not satisfy the inspector, but also appeared to have offended him a bit, for now he talked fast, his eyes glistening, his hands twisting his moustache furiously. So if we view it from our individual level, personal level, Sadhuram is absolutely right. But if we view it from the spiritual angle, a little more higher than the personal, then the same incident helps us in our sadhana. He wills, not I will. It was a terrible test. Walking 20 miles means 32 kilometers. 32 kilometers. Early morning they started, at 2 p.m. they reached. And they are asked to leave now. We can imagine that, 32 kilometers, not 1 or 2. But even at that time, Papa was able to maintain the same equanimity, because he was 100% clear that it was the will of Ram. And submission to the will of Ram is our duty, that's all. So this episode we should keep on thinking about it. And then tally with the episode which God made us to. When He gave us a desire and when He made us to put in a lot of efforts and He made us to see the failure, what was our reaction? And later on also we survived, Then we know, at that time we unnecessarily passed through the stress created by us. Because later on we were somehow able to reconcile with it or get over it. Again, which we think it is done by us. But the truth is, it is done by Him, and He made us to develop the desire, He made us to put in that effort, and He saw to it that it becomes a failure. Even if you go back to Vittal Rao's struggle, one after another, no? He gets a job, he loses the job. His failure in the partnership with his father-in-law, and his own failure when he started his own, mounting liabilities. And he cried, "Where is rest, where is peace?" One person comes forward to take over the liabilities. And then Papa warned him that he may also lose his money. But the friend insisted that he would become the partner, clear off all the liabilities and take charge of his administration and finance. Papa has to do only the technical work, producing or handling the looms. For all practical purposes, it is over. No, the problem is over. But Papa knew if this problem is over now, tomorrow another problem will come. So I want a permanent solution for the entire problem. The entire problem comes from me and mine. So I should find out a technique by which the me and mine is totally erased so that there won't be any problem. This clarity came to him, and that led him to the transition from Vittal Rao to Swami Ramdas. Repeatedly we have to go through this, to make us aware. Once again we have to go through. Otherwise how will we get that equanimity? To accept things as they are. Toughest point. So here, that is what had happened. And one more. And the Sadhuram could not reconcile. So he started abusing, He continued to give when choice epithets of abuse. Papa says he was assured it was all Ram's wish, so there was no reason to grumble. Still he continued. That's what he said to Sadhu Ram. But still he continued to give vent to the choice epithets of abuse. He seemed to be quite a master in that line. For about a mile, the Sadhu Ram's wrath did not cool down. Gradually he became silent. Maybe due to the exhaustion of his stock of vocabulary, or on account of an empty stomach. Or it might have been all a trick of Ram to test Ramdas, if he would join him in the game, set on foot by him. Ram alone knows, and he alone can judge.
Hariom Swamiji. Swamiji, was Papa looking at it like a play?
Was Papa looking at it a play?
Yes?
That is the question she is asking. Question, is Papa looking at situation as a play?
As a play?
She is asking the question.
Yeah. Absolutely. He also said, whether it was a test. Because if the me and mine comes, immediately, you will pass judgment. And from that level, it is 100% okay. It is not untruth. But if we raise ourselves from the personal level and feel that there should be a purpose behind this, because it is the will of Ram, so submission becomes easy. It's a grand message for all of us. So whenever we are confronted in such situations, if we try to close our eyes and bring in this dimension, our reaction will be totally different. But if we view it from the personal level, the rights and wrongs set by the intellect will come, and naturally it will go along with that. From the individual level, Sadhuram was right, You can't criticize him. He has not done anything wrong. With all good intentions, he went there. He had no idea to attack anybody, to cause inconvenience to anybody. And what he was telling was, we have only walked 32 kilometers, so allow us to stay for some time, then we will go back. It is a justifiable demand. So from his level, suppose you take it as from his level, he is absolutely right. But here, in his case, in Papa's case, everything happens only by his will. So the policeman is only an instrumental cause. His will is that they should leave the place. So submission to his will is the only course open for him. and he was able to maintain the equanimity. We have to read these portions again and again and again, so that otherwise we may forget, when we are confronted in such a situation outside. To us at the moment it is meant only during the satsang session. After the session is over, when such a thing happens, we react from the personal level. So repeatedly when we go through it again and again and again and again, something of it will get impacted. That will help us to deal with the situation in a different way. That is why, though we have all shared all these things, we are again going through it. Because repetitive performance is necessary to have its own dent. Because God will put us, next moment He may put us to go through a similar incident. From the personal level we are right, and we have got every right to grumble or complain or act. But at that time, are we in a position to bring in this dimension? That is why repetitive reading is necessary, repetitive churning is necessary, repetitive contemplation is necessary, so that something of it will get assimilated into our system. Otherwise it will be hearing and that's all. It will not have a deep impact. Yes, then so he left, retracing from 4 miles from the city. Sadhu Ram selected a veranda of a shop which was shut for taking rest for the night. And then in this chapter, anything else?
Meeting Swami Ramana Maharishi.
Meeting Swami Ramana Maharishi.
You see, he wanted to meet a Mahatma. A desire rose in his heart to meet a Mahatma. God willed it, okay. And then God saw to it that it doesn't get fulfilled. But God tested him. So he passed the test. But at the same time, when he knew that a desire is there to meet a Mahatma, God in his own way brought him to Tiruvannamalai. And after a week's stay on the veranda of a house, when this time it was not his desire, the sadhu suggested that there is a Mahatma here, why not we go and meet? Immediately he met. See the difference now?
But within quotes, Maharaj, here stands before thee a humble slave. Have pity on him. His only prayer to thee is to give him thy blessing.
Yes. No, we are talking about the incident that took place before that.
Yes.
So first he got, a desire rose in his heart to have the darshan of Aurobindo, and he put in his effort, and it did not get fulfilled.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Then at the same time, when he passed the test, God saw to it, Ram saw to it, that his desire to have the darshan of a Mahatma should be fulfilled. This time it was not he asked, this time it was suggested by the Sadhu Ram. And when he went there, he did not ask for anything, only his blessings. So a big lesson for all of us. When he says that no, I will guide you properly and I protect you. When we have that faith, unwavering faith, on some occasion he makes us to see the failure, but at the same time he ensures that it is compensated through success also. To him there was no failure and success. He has reached that stage But still, from the individual level, when he developed a desire to have the darshan of the Mahatma, because he did not come to Tiruvannamalai to have the darshan of her. If you go through that, he will say, again it was all Ram's work. Next day the train carried both the sadhus to Tiruvannamalai. Here the Sadhu Ram conducted him to the house of a goldsmith with whom he was acquainted. The goldsmith was a pious man. He pressed both the sadhus to remain in his house as guests for some days. Ramdas occupied a closed veranda in his friend's house for his meditation and rest. In the mornings and evenings, he along with Sadhu Ram would go to the huge temple of Mahadev. That's all. One day, the kind Sadhu Ram took him for the darshan of a famous saint of the praise named Sri Brahma Maharshi. So we find, first part of the chapter concentrates upon a desire that is welling up in Papa's mind to have the darshan of a saint. Then he makes him to take to these 32 kilometers, up and down, 64 kilometers. He couldn't get the darshan, but he was quite at ease. And he comes to Tiruvannamalai. There he rests about for a week. One day the Sadhu Ram took him to darshan. And then when he was taken before the Bhagavan, he said, Maharaj, here stands before thee a humble slave. Have pity on him. His only prayer to thee is to give him thy blessings. The difference of age between Bhagavan and Papa was 5 years. But here he explains about Bhagavan, no? He was young, but there was on his face a calmness, and in his large eyes a passionless look of tenderness. These two words, calmness. Because Bhagavan was always reveling in the reality only. Peace is God, So calmness is the expression of peace. And then eyes, a passionless look of tenderness. It's a wonderful word. Passionless look. Detached. At the same time loving.
But in this book, it has been stated, the Maharishi turning his beautiful eyes towards Ramdas, looking intently for a few minutes into his eyes, as though he was pouring into Ramdas his blessings through those eyes, took his head to say that he had blessed. A thrill of inexpressible joy coursed through the frame of Ramdas, the whole body quivering like a leaf in the breeze. O Ram, what a love this is thine. Bidding farewell to the Mahatma, Sadhu Ram, and he returned to the goldsmith. So in this way it has been.
Yeah. So we are trying to understand passionless look of tenderness.
Tenderness.
So tenderness is there, but it is passionless. Detached but loving. It's the highest form of, highest form of that state.
Yes.
Anybody comes, a passionless look of tenderness, beautiful. So total detachment, because you are the Vairagi of the highest, So There was absolutely
தமிழ்ல கனிவான பார்வைன்னு சொல்லலாமா?
கனிவும் சொல்ல முடியாது. Passionless. There is no passion there. When you come, when I see you after a long time, because of my attachment to you,
Yes.
the expression will be, it will not be a passionless look of tenderness. It will be a passionful look of tenderness. But here, because he was totally detached from anything that is transient, he was only reveling on the eternal, not on the ephemerals. So that means no passion can come. So passionless at the same time, love is tenderness, you know. It is a wonderful trait. We have to keep on thinking about it. How do I develop love minus the attachment? Normally we love an object, a person to whom we love. To whom we are attached in some form. When our love comes without that attachment, somebody is walking on the banks of an ocean. Suddenly a wave comes and the man loses his steps. The wave takes him. A person who sees this, an onlooker, immediately jumps and tries to save him. That is without attachment.
கனிவு பரிவு ஆன்மீகம் கலந்தது.
ஆனா பற்றற்ற. There is no patru there, attachment there. And it is not only for X, Y, Z. Bhagavan got stabilized in it, no. At the tender age itself, he has reached that stage. So that is why as soon as Papa saw him, he was able to explain to us who is Maharshi. That Maharshi is an embodiment of calmness. His face, embodiment of calmness, and his eyes, a passionless look of tenderness, which cast a spell of peace and joy on all those who came to him. All those who came to him. Everybody was getting that equal measure of tenderness, equal measure of that calmness. Every word of Papa is to be, churned, and then Papa writes in one of his letters that through mere superficial churning of thought, Ramdas's words cannot be understood. You can throw light on them only when you bring with you the blazing torch of your own perfected experience. Experience is gained by diving into the depth of your mind. Mere assertion of the truth is not realization. Realization means direct perception and experience. So every word, every expression, we have to churn with our perfected experience. Otherwise we may not be able to understand. We will overlook all those words. When you apply seriously, sitting here far away from Tiruvannamalai, even when Bhagavan had dropped the body in 1951, so 49 plus 12, 22, 71 years back, he had dropped the body. Still on this day when we read, he comes before our mind,
Yes.
So Papa's words are such powerful ones, charged with that power, that even after 71 years of his dropping the body, Even though we are sitting in Kanjangad and Tirunamari is far, far, far away, still when he makes a mention about Bhagavan, Bhagavan's form comes before us with a face of calmness and a look of passionless tenderness. Powerful, very powerful.
It is also just when we can add in this a particular line, a thrill of inexpressible joy goes through the frame of Ramdas. Frame of the Ramdas means we have to take the body of Ramdas.
Yeah.
His whole body quivering like a leaf in the breeze.
Yeah.
What is inherent meaning?
Thrill of inexpressible joy, inexpressible joy, which cannot be, which cannot be explained.
Yes, it can't be.
There also we stop and think.
It is to be felt by the self.
Thrill of joy, inexpressible joy. He couldn't contain himself. Finally, he gave a name, inexpressible joy.
Yes. Goes through the frame of Ramdas.
Correct. When he met Gandhiji,
Yes.
and at a long distance, Papa used almost similarly the same word.
Yes.
Then he said that was the first touch of spirituality. Because something, I don't remember exactly the word he used, but he has said that was the first spiritual touch. An inexplicable feeling he developed, positive feeling. Seeing Gandhiji at a distance, because it was like a big gathering and he was somewhere else. So the mind, that was his first spiritual touch. The first lesson, Hari Shri. In our, Vidyarambha we say do that, when we were children, we were either our father or we will be taken to a holy place or in a temple where, we will say Hari Shri Ganapataye Namaha. The first one. Similarly, in this, Papa says the Hari Shri was the darshan of Gandhiji at a distance. So from there, the saga started and the mind was getting tuned to it, fine-tuning was going on. And when he came and stood before Bhagavan, the fine-tuning came out in the form of inexpressible joy. And he was able to feel the calmness from his face and from the eyes, a passionless tenderness. Every time we read a chapter, he makes us to halt on a particular expression and then go within, go within, go within. It is connected to the eternal. The proof is this. If it is connected to the ephemeral, the form is not there, we will not get. We will not feel the same thing. Here it is an expression given out by Papa. It is not our expression, but to fine-tune with that expression. First one, it comes from the purest heart. And second thing is, when we go through it repeatedly, slowly the attunement comes. Ordinarily, we would have just passed through that word. We would not have concentrated on these two words. Today he saw to it that we concentrate on these two words. Because Bhagavan does not stand up, greet or say nothing, there was nothing. Normally, that is the usual one normally we see. Even a Mahatma, when you prostrate, he will also smile, he will also say a few words, is it not? But here you see, it's totally different. Bhagavan is seated there, untouched, unaffected by anything that is going on outside. But when Papa looked at him, The first impression was the face was giving the calmness and the eyes were giving a passionless tenderness. And this had happened nearly 100 years ago, 90 years ago. Okay. 90 years ago.
Yes, yes.
But still when we reread and think about it, something wells up in our heart, we are unable to explain that sort. We not only see the Papa, we also see Bhagavan now through Papa's words. Wonderful. And then he says, when we go there normally, Papa has nothing to ask, But when God provided him such an opportunity, he only sought his blessings. Blessings for, there is no for. Normally we say blessings for this, blessings for that. Here nothing is there for Papa to crave for. So he only said your blessings. And not merely he asked for blessings, he also felt that Bhagavan has blessed him.
It is only by spine.
Not a word.
Not a word. Shook his head to say that he had blessed him.
He looked at him intently.
Yes.
As though he was pouring into Ramdas his blessing through those orbs. What a state, Wow. And shook his head to say that he had blessed. Like this he would have done. No other word.
No other word.
If a word comes again, there will be another answer, no?
Oh Ram, what a love is kind.
So Bhagavan's way of handling is something unique. Not through any word, but more powerful than a word, his look. If you say, I'm very happy that you...
Swamiji, somewhere in this, Papa says, speech creates duality.
Speech creates duality.
Please create. Speech creates duality, no doubt about it. So when he was reveling, to him, suppose we start speaking, then there will be a reply, then again another one, then so many things will be there. But here the greatest lesson Bhagavan gives, as expressed by Papa, is not through speech. We need the speech to know that we don't need speech, So that is how the chapter ends. So the 8th chapter has got a lot of points for us. 9th chapter. 9th chapter, again and again if we go through, there are so many things which are touched and kindled in us. So we are praying to Papa now, you made us to go through it again and again and again. And today you made us to dwell more on two aspects. One is that a desire comes, a positive desire comes, you put in all efforts, it doesn't get fulfilled. Another one, you don't get any desire, somebody suggests you go, the same desire is fulfilled. And in both, he maintains the same equanimity. And about Bhagavan, a face radiating calmness. Eyes listening with passionless tenderness. Kindly don't forget these two words. Lot of meaning, inner meaning involved. Anything else strikes to anybody? Nothing else? Oh, because we have heard Bhagavan did not say anything, you are also not telling anything.
Expressing through silence.
Namaskar to everybody for this wonderful. No words are coming out,
Kala wants to say something. Yes, sir.
Ah. Yes?
Pondicherry and Ramnashram visit.
The Aurobindo and Bhagavan Ramana are different. But the ritual
Reality is one and the same.
So, Papa was guided by Ram. He is this. And that's why there was no feeling when we start see Swami Aurobindo.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Yes, it could be. One is apparently denied, one is apparently fulfilled.
This statement has got inherent meaning.
Wonderful. So let us all try to contemplate upon it as much as possible. Tomorrow or today, beautiful points came out. So we make a note of it and then go through it again and again and again. So that something of it will remain. And it will have its own impact on dealing with men and matters outside. Hari Om. Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram 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 Om Shri Ram Jai Ram जय जय राम ओम श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम ओम हरि ओम हरि ओम हरि ओम।